Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. This is Eisenherz and today I want to present 5 of the most common cEDH deck archetypes. So without further ado, let's get started. Tobonos is one of the most common cEDH deck archetypes and it dominated the meta for quite a while. The idea of this archetype is to reliably and quickly cast an ad nauseam while your life total is still very high and interaction as well as Stax pieces are scarce. An early ad nauseam with a high life total and a relatively low mana curve will allow you to dig very deep into your deck and grab all the combo pieces you need in order to win immediately. Fast mana, tutors and compact combos like Dual Caster Mage or more commonly Thassa's Oracle are what you're looking for with these kinds of decks. For this deck to function well, you obviously need access to black, but you also want red in order to cast rituals like Dockside Extortionist, and most optimally you will also have blue in order to use free and cheap interaction to protect your combo. The most common example for this kind of deck are Silas plus Ragrag, Malcolm plus Vile Smasher, Corvold or Tymna plus Crown. Stax is an archetype that focuses on stopping your opponents from winning the game by deploying permanents that hate on widely played strategies. The most common hate piece to do that is Rule of Law. The nature of most cEDH decks is to ramp hard and play a lot of cheap yet efficient spells in order to create an advantage over your opponents and then use that advantage in order to combo off. Rule of Law effects completely stop this kind of gameplay on two axes. Not only does it stop the fast gameplay, it also stopped almost all A plus B combos. So these decks are extremely disruptive and they can also win through the lock they created, for example with combat or by cheating a combo piece into play without actually casting it. Of course there are also other hate pieces like Graveyard Hate, Card Draw Denial or ETB Hate, but be warned, Stax is one of, if not the single hardest archetype to master in cEDH. Common examples are Winota or even Kenrith, but also Tymna plus Kamal or Heliod. Farm is an archetype that has got its name from the commander pairing of Tymna plus Bruce Tarl, which kinda look like they live on a farm together. However, today the archetype commonly refers to Tymna-based commander pairings that use utility creatures in order to dominate the board and create card advantage through combat damage and Tymna. There are other commanders that allow for very similar strategies. Common examples for Tymna-based decks are Tymna plus Crom, Jeska, Malcolm, Sakashima, pretty much whatever your heart desires. But like I said, there are also other decks that can be considered farm decks, like Inala, Corvold, Yuriko, or the newly printed Sphinx Demon Rafine. Food Chain is an archetype that revolves around one card, Food Chain. The idea is to use Food Chain and a creature that can be cast from exile in order to create infinite mana, and then use that infinite mana to infinitely and repeatedly cast your commander and have a relevant ETB or LTB effect in order to close out the game with your commander. This obviously means that you need green in order to have access to Food Chain, but you also need a commander with a relevant ETB or LTB effect, and you also need to play at least one of the following creatures: Misthollow Griffin, Squee the Immortal, or Eternal Scourge. Because these creatures can be cast from exile, often Food Chain is also layered with additional combos like Thassa's Oracle plus Demonic Consultation or Dual Caster Mage. Another important aspect of Food Chain decks are cards that allow you to exile other cards from your hand or your library, like Chromox, Gemstone Caverns, Extraction, Manipulate Fate, and of course the Forbidden Tutors, which are actually so good in Food Chain that you basically have to play black when you play a Food Chain deck. The best examples for Food Chain decks are Ukimakazur, the First Sliver, and Corvold. Hulk decks are named after the incredible tutor, which is Protean Hulk. The idea is to cast a Protean Hulk or cheat it into play, and then sacrifice it in order to get the LTB trigger and tutor up a stack of creatures which will allow you to combo off and win the game immediately. There are tons of stacks or piles you can create with Protean Hulk. Let me give you a few examples for very common piles. The first one is Viscera Seer, Disciple of the Vault, Lesser Masticore, and Melira Silvok Outcast. Another example would be Nomad's Encore, Cephalid Illusionist, and Thassa's Oracle. And finally, there is the pile of Felidar Guardian, Karmic Guide, and Kiki-Jiki. This is not actually a single pile, but it works with Protean Hulk and allows you to create infinite Felidar Guardian tokens. For a Hulk deck to function well, you need a sack outlet readily available, which kinda means that you want your commander to have the ability to sacrifice a creature. Common examples would be Varolz, Dina, Grist, Gave, Tevesh Zad, and of course Minsk. Of course, I will put all the links to DEX and Discord servers in the description box down below. And with that, I'm out. Thank you for watching my video. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing to my channel, share the video with your friends, give it a thumbs up, and leave a comment down below. And just so you know, there will be follow-up videos about other cEDH archetypes in the future. This is Eisenherz and auf Wiedersehen.